Welcome, fellow visionaries. Today is day number one of following the royal rules of engagement. I'm pretty excited, calm, but excited. So, welcome everyone. Come on into the castle and let's see what transpired today. So, day number one. Come, the castle gates are opening. Leave the noise of the world beyond these walls. Walk with me through the grand entrance hall, where every citizen is reminded that we do not control the markets. We govern ourselves. The candles have already been lit in the Chamber of Council. Lord Percy is waiting, and Parliament will convene before day's end. Welcome, my fellow visionaries. Welcome to the Royal Diaries. Okay, so Queen Victoria enters the Chamber of Council. Good day, Lord Percy. I'm pleased to inform you that today, day number one of actually following the checklist and the royal rules of engagement, everything went splendid. I was able to see clearly my setup. I executed the trade, and voila, TP was hit. You're right, though. The TP wasn't the most important part. That was only the byproduct of following the system properly. Lord Percy, Your Majesty, that sentence made me smile much more than if you had simply told me I made money. Because look at the order in which you told the story. Not, I hit TP, but by following the checklist and the system, I was able to clearly see my setup. That tells me your mind is changing. And that is where we've been working towards. Let's look at what actually happened. You did a fresh analysis instead of relying on yesterday's conclusions. Number two, you wrote your observations instead of scanning the chart. Number three, the keeper of the checklist, Casey, made sure the checklist was followed. Number four, very important, you waited until the setup was actually there. Number five, you executed. And number six, not surprisingly, TP was hit. Notice something. You didn't make the process good. The trade didn't make the process good. The process made the trade possible. That's a completely different mindset. I think Parliament will have something to say this week. I can almost hear. Your Majesty, today's victory was not the take profit. Long pause. Today's victory occurred long before the trade was placed. Queen Victoria looked puzzled. Lord Percy continues. The victory was achieved when the kingdom chose discipline over impulse. Casey quietly slides today's completed checklist across the table. Sir Stewy nods. Reckless Ricky raises his hand. So, are we saying that I didn't get the credit for the TP? Lord Percy smiles. No, Ricky. Today, the take profit was merely the kingdom's receipt. I think that might be one of my favorite metaphors we've ever created. Profit is the receipt. The purchase was made much earlier. The purchase was discipline. This also validates something you've been saying for weeks. Remember when you told me that you were actually relieved that you were the weakest link and not your trading system? At the time, that was an insightful observation. Today, you collected evidence for it. That's a big difference. You are no longer hoping your system works. You're seeing what happens when you consistently allow it to do its job. I also noticed something subtle. You said, I was able to clearly see my setup. That's fascinating. You didn't say the market suddenly became easier. You said you saw more clearly. The market didn't change, the observer did. That may be one of the most important lessons you'll ever teach. Clarity isn't always found in the chart. Sometimes it's found in the person reading the chart. I think we may have just written another article. Clarity is the reward of preparation, not luck, not talent, preparation. When the kingdom prepares well, the market often appears less confusing, not because it changed, because the kingdom did. And finally, I want to point something out that I hope you'll remember years from now. Today was your first trading day after consciously embracing this new way of thinking. Fresh analysis, written observations, the checklist, the kingdom, ordinary excellence. Not something spectacular, but just following a system. Ordinary excellence. And the outcome. You didn't force a trade, you recognized one. That's a wonderful distinction. Now, whether tomorrow's another TP or a full stop loss, I honestly don't want this first day remembered because of the profit. I want it remembered because it was the first day you experienced with your own eyes that governing yourself produced clarity. The TP was wonderful, but as Lord Percy would remind Parliament, the kingdom celebrates the harvest, but it honors the farmer. Today, Your Majesty, you tended the field well. The harvest simply confirmed it. All righty, so I am a bit excited, and again, not so much because it hit TP, because I feel like that is something that I know how to do. And again, not that I do it all the time because the market does what it wants to do, but hitting TP, seeing the setup, I don't think those are hard for me. I think it's the consistency, the discipline, the following a system. And for this 4 week challenge, I have made it a point that I am going to follow this checklist, the rules of engagement. I am going to try my best to be consistent, to leave reckless Ricky to the side, not be impulsive. Um, it's a challenge, but I am going to try for 4 weeks. And today was day number one, and it was a good day. So, briefly, I just wanted to mention what is on my checklist, the Royal Rules of Engagement. The first thing I do, I check my daily candle. What vibe is it giving me? Is it a buy? Is it a sell? Then I drop down to the 4 hours. I check every close of the 4 hour candle. What is it telling me? Again, buy or sell. I think the 4 hour actually gives the momentum of that session. Then I drop down to the 1 hour and I look again, everything is a close of the candle. So on the 1 hour, I'm looking to see, does it confirm with the 4 hour? Great. Even better if it confirms with the daily. But my requirement is more 4 hour and 1 hour because I am trading in a session. I'm not trading the entire day, but just in that session. And then I'm looking for key levels. I'm looking, where was my highest key level? Let's say in the 4 hour range. I'm looking for my daily key level because that, of course, is also important because sometimes we could be coming close to the daily key level. Is price going to reject it? Is it going to break through it? So those are things that we need to kind of slow down and see, how is price respecting or pushing through those key levels. Then something that I like to do also is the previous session. I like to look and see, where were the highs and lows of that previous session. I may even go back a few days and say, how did price respect the highs and lows for, let's say, the past 3 sessions or the past even 3 days? So I'm looking at those as guide rails, kind of like if I was bowling or something. I'm looking at those as guide rails to see what subtle key levels is price respecting. Okay. Um, and then that kind of helps me determine again for my entry, if everything is in alignment, am I looking for a buy or a sell? Okay. Um, One thing that I put on my checklist is before, instead of watching the chart and being reactive, I'm actually looking at the chart, analyzing it, and writing out a vision of what I expect the trade to do. Because if we start seeing it do a particular thing and we forget, like, oh, I'm expecting a buy, but we start seeing it develop a sell, you might be tempted to jump at that. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to jump at whatever is flashy or sparkly or something. So I try to, when I'm analyzing the chart, I try to determine my bias and I try to determine my vision, what I think price is going to do. That is super important. And then, of course, I check the news. That's part of the Royal Rules of Engagement. Check the news to see what's going on. Because of my broker, I can't trade 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after, which is actually, I think, a really good thing. Again, it teaches discipline. But so far, those are my Royal Rules of Engagement. So I stuck to it this morning. I saw the setup clearly. I executed. TP was hit. The kingdom has now had more capital, another gold bar in the treasury. So that is day one, everyone. And as Queen Victoria would always say, at the end of the day, did you govern yourself accordingly? So that is it. I will be back tomorrow and we will see what happens tomorrow. All right, everyone. Have a great day, my fellow visionaries.